Welcome to another edition of Lakeville's City Council Wrap-Up. During this program, we will highlight the agenda items presented to the Lakeville City Council at their July 20th, 2015 meeting. First highlighted item on the agenda is item number 5B, Parks and Recreation Department Monthly Report. And to provide the background information on this agenda item is Parks and Recreation Director Brett Altergott.
At the Arts Center, continuing the trend, it's been an extremely busy year. The pictures you see here, I'll get into a lot of the details, but we had 192 participants in art classes in June alone. The picture to your left, the owl bag and t-shirt, was one of the programs, Starry Night and Messy Hands Art Camp. Again, phenomenally attended. These kids came away with some really great projects. Of particular note, the Starry Night program filled, and we were able to open up 2 additional sessions to accommodate the wait list. So that just tells you how popular that program was, and Joe did a phenomenal job, again, in working with the instructor, working within the facility to clear the waiting list. And that's important, again, to our future and serving the people. Owl Bag filled. We had a wait list for that, but not enough to create another class in that particular one. But again, extremely successful when you get 192 participants in a month. And our Did You Know fact is you can sign up your neighborhood or club for a fun art night out. Custom paint canvas, wine glasses, or create unique pieces of pottery. You can work with the Art Center staff to make that happen. Look at our classes and or create one. Also at the Art Center, the agreement we have with SPC that went through, and again, that's funded by that grant for the Art Center. We're working with them to broaden our social media, and it's really been working well. We've gone from just having Facebook to Twitter, Instagram, all the other different social medias. And one thing that we're trying to reach beyond Lakeville, so they're target marketing out there on the web as well. We're seeing a lot of activity, a lot of people visiting the site, and actually tomorrow morning we'll get a much better idea when we get a look at the Google Analytics to see where our traffic is being generated from. We'll keep a close eye on that and update the council in the weekly report. Also of note here that I wanted to point out is there was an article about a week or 2 ago regarding a community band. We were contacted, I believe Mayor, you were contacted as well. And something we wanted to look at is Miss Janice Differding came forward and she wanted to bring a community band here to Lakeville. So her and Joe met and are working out the details. Our goal is to have that community band up and running by next summer. There would be 3 concerts, like a June, July, and an August concert. She has the idea. We're going to finalize the details and then start looking for performers. So as that takes shape, again, I'll keep the council updated. In some of the pictures, I wanted to point out, you have your top left and your bottom right. That's a raku pottery class. We've done it with some mild success in the past, but we did this one as a parent-child program and more than just a raku. Participants not only glazed pots, but we roasted hot dogs and s'mores on a bonfire while the pots were being fired. It was a huge success, and we're running it again on August 13th, and we're also adding an adult version with a wine, beer, and design for the fall.
What is that term you're using, raku?
Raku.
What does that mean?
It's a type of firing. You see the fire inside of the where you're firing the pottery up to cure it. So that's a method that's used to cure the pottery. It is always, of course, with a fire, always done outside. At the art festival, you'll see it by the garage, but we are also offering the class. So again, it's a different spin on it, and by adding the parent-child version this year, again, we got families involved versus just being a night out for a mom or dad or whoever was interested in pottery. So it was a neat spin. On the bottom left, there's a mosaic that's there. We had that's 34 individual paintings that made up that mosaic, and that was from the Primrose daycare field trip that came to our facility on June 15th. Kids toured the facility. The cable department came in, so they learned a little bit about the cable. I believe Jim did a puppet demonstration, and then they created that piece of art. Then that went back to their facility. So that, again, that's something different, at least during my time here, that hasn't been done. That was extremely neat to see. And the others are just some paintings that are in our current gallery. So if you haven't seen it, it's an extensive watercolor gallery that is there now. On the park maintenance side, wanted to point out The preventative maintenance that we performed on over 20 miles of trail in June, these preventative maintenance measures serve to protect the trails from environmental aging and deterioration of the elements. And where we're doing that is on trails where we have that OCI rating, the overall condition index, where it's a 100, which is a brand new, down to a 70. And that is done, again, to try to protect our investment so we don't have to do as much crack filling. We can extend the life of that pavement well beyond. As what you're well aware, we're running into issues now, the older sections of trail, we're having to do reclamation projects, overlays. With the fog sealing, we're hoping to extend that and stretch that out many more years. So what you'll see is some newer trails. Kenrick Avenue received it about 2 years in. You get it in there, again, and seal that up and prevent it from cracking, keep some of the oils and elasticity in the pavement. Also with park maintenance, we installed a new privacy fence, and that's along the one property that will remain after we complete the acquisition this fall. The fence was in terrible shape, and so we contracted out, and that new fence was in place. Looks great for both the homeowner and for the park. And another big project, it looks like a small, but we've got to keep up on that Dodd Trail tunnel. It does fill up with water. So by keeping it cleaned up along those edges, we can hopefully keep the mud and other debris that end up in the tunnel through these simple maintenance projects. So it is, again, an extensive project because there was mud and things inside. They cleaned all that out and then took care of each side of the tunnel with the grass and other debris. Other things that we typically did, it was a busy month for tournaments, extremely busy. I think it was 3 out of the 4 weekends in June. So tons of field striping took place. Constant infield maintenance from the dragging to make sure that we don't create low spots. And then because the grass was growing so quick, we actually were not able to keep up on the mowing like we would like to, which led to us having to mow and then sweep all the excess grass off for the tournaments. So it was an extremely busy month just in terms of our general and routine maintenance on fields. And this is something we want to point out is twice each summer, a treatment is applied to the swimming areas at Lakeville's 3 public beaches to prevent swimmer's itch. And we want to point that out. We've had Valley Lake Beach down for a while. And that's due to another issue. But we do treat for swimmer's itch as well. Because, again, that comes from the fecal matter of mammals, geese, duck, muskrat, things of that nature. But it has to be picked up by a snail, and then the parasite is released. But it is something we try to time it along with the 4th of July, and we'll have another treatment here later in summer. And again, it's trying to make it as comfortable as we can because specifically for younger children who play in shallow areas, they're more susceptible to it than if you go out to deeper water. On the recreation side, just highlight a couple of programs. Camp Kermit, which is to the left, it's a program that we hold at a couple different facilities. We have 42 participants in that this summer. Nature programs at Ritter had almost 70 participants. Golf lessons at Heritage, which was our juniors program, had 51, and at Crystal Lake we had 15 in golf. Lynch tennis camps, we had 68 participants, and they go out a couple different areas throughout our community. And Tiny Tots Turf Soccer, you notice we bumped that. We were able to get enough staff with Dan Bretschneider, our program supervisor, runs the program, additional staff home for the summer. So we could take 68. We've been hovering around 50. So we were able to take that waiting list and run it instead of running another session, incorporate them into the program. So that was really good to see. Also on recreation, this is not a picture of Paddle the Parks from this one. This is from last fall, but the first one was on June 13th, and we had kind of a rough start to the mornings, a little wet and rainy, but we still had about a little over a dozen people come out, and Howard Schneider led that tour for us. Started at East Community Park, and they'll take the trails to a lot of different parks. It was, again, if I can attend, I do. I just happen to have soccer that morning, but it is one of my favorite events to attend. So those of you, council members, people at home, there's 2 more coming up throughout the year. Check our website. We'd be glad to see you out there. It's a great event, and it's about a 10 to 13 mile bike ride on those Saturdays. Learn to Skate remains popular with over 80 participants. And our Did You Know fact, we wanted to point out that in the Parks and Recreation, we have sand volleyball leagues at Antlers. We had 26 teams on Tuesdays, Wednesdays, and Thursdays this summer, and on Monday evenings, Women's Sand Volleyball League has 6 teams, and that is a great use of those courts. And then, of course, on the weekends, they're extremely packed. At the Heritage Center, just want to point out, classes like the Healthways Fitness class have continued to grow, increasing from 46 to 60 participants per week since January. That is phenomenal. And then for those who don't want to participate necessarily in a class, for no extra charge, 5 days a week, members can use 10 commercial-grade exercise machines. And in June, 8 to 9 members per day made use of that center's equipment. And we had a little discussion about this in a meeting today, but the iPad and iPhone classes and one-on-one computer tutoring are popular with the active adults right now, who are new to technology as well as those who would like to learn more. But it is picking up in popularity as more of the baby boomer generation is getting into using the iPhone because their kids do. Just the basic functionality, texting, things like that maybe some of us take for granted. It relieves that stress of using that device with those people. And again, it continues to be extremely popular for us. Just want to take a quick look at the Heritage Center as we look at membership every month. We had 23 new members joining the month of June. It was 15 Lakeville residents, 8 non-residents, so that trend continues. In the table, you'll see where we're at for the year in terms of our numbers by the resident, couple, and so forth. We had 101 new members have joined since the 2015-2016 membership enrollment began. Remember, that was May 1. So that's 101 new members as compared to last year. And our total membership at this point is 850, which is ahead of last year also. So people will continue to kind of join on throughout the year, and I'll keep you posted. And next month's report, I will include where we were at that point in time in July. Upcoming, we have a busy week, as if Panaprog wasn't enough. We have a family camp out at Casperson Park. We have 15 families, not 15 people, 15 families camping out on Friday night. And then they're welcome to stay. Next morning, we have the 28th Annual Youth Shore Fishing Contest at Casperson. That, again, Dan Bretschneider is the one that's going to sleep in the park and then run the fishing contest the next day. So it's been a glutton for punishment the last month. And then next Tuesday, we'll have the Runner's Gate 5K trail run at Ritter Farm Park. Again, more information about these programs are online as well, or you can call the Park and Recreation Department. And we want to point out, don't forget to check out the Puppet Wagon through August 14th. And again, on our city website, we'll have more information on the schedule and park location, and the staff has been updating our Twitter feed as well.
Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 7, resolution authorizing issuance and sale of $17,585,000 general obligation improvement bonds. And to begin a series of presentations, here's Finance Director Geraldine Erickson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor and council members. This evening we have Dave McGilvery from Springstead. He's our financial advisor. He'll be providing quite a few details on the bond issuance that was held today. First of all, just a little summary of the projects that are being covered by this bond issuance. There are 5 projects. The 2015 Street Recon project, which is phase 1. The second phase will be bonded for next year. The Kensington Boulevard project, the Hamburg Avenue project, the 5060 roundabout, and the Apava Avenue traffic signals at 175th and 165th projects. Justin and I participated in a bond rating call about 2 weeks ago, and we're happy to say that Moody's assigned a favorable rating of a AA1 to the city. And the issuance before you tonight, originally we anticipated that it would be about $17,585,000. The issuance will be reduced to $16,545,000. And again, Dave McGilvery will go over some of those details. The tax impact, whereas we had anticipated that it would impact the 2016 levy by $438,000, the estimated tax levy is at $407,000. With that, I'll turn it over to Dave.
Thank you.
Thank you very much. Dave McGilvery from Springstead. Just a few highlights. Geraldine talked about the reduction in the issue size, so we're funding the same amount of projects with less debt. That's because 2 factors. One, in this market, because people are thinking rates are going to go up, they actually pay you additional money than what you were asking for, and there's a little offset in interest rates. It's called a premium. And to get to the same point, we take that and reduce the amount of the debt. So a lot of that reduction is because of this premium. The other part is because a good number of the costs associated with the issuance, paying the underwriter, and the capitalized interest, because I'm going to tell you the interest rate's a lot lower than we had estimated. That also, those costs went down, so we needed less proceeds. And I think just one other comment, Geraldine commented on the reduction in tax levy for 2016. As a result of this, approximately $30,000 under the estimate. That also kind of continues on for quite a number of years. So you're going to get a lower tax contribution for the debt service. With that, I believe you have sheets or on your computer a summary of the bids we took today. I was referred as yellow sheet, but it's on your computer. So
Yeah.
this is a compilation. We took bids via the internet at 10 o'clock this morning. This sheet summarizes each of the bidders. The lowest or best bidder is listed first, Raymond James and Associate, with some partners, Morgan Stanley, et cetera. If you look over on the right-hand side, true interest rate, it's 3.1449. And so that true interest rate is a present value rate. It takes into consideration the time, cost, and money. The second bidder, which was the next best, but not good enough, Piper Jaffray, 3.169, and then they continue on, and you can kind of read the names on the other pages. But you got 7 bids, which is a lot of bids, particularly for $17 million. So Raymond James, 3.1449. We did an estimate based on the market in the first part of June, and it was 3.70. So this is 0.5%. We say 50 basis points, which starting with a base of 3.7, that's a lot of interest rate. So that caused us to reduce the issue size and reduce those tax levies in future years. So it was way under estimate. You might ask why, and there's probably 2 big reasons. Greece actually impacted this bond transaction because rates have gone down, and plus, generally in July, there's a lower supply in the municipal market, so there's less supply out there. There's more demand. It kind of fluctuates, but generally that's it. So up until the Greece point in time, the rates were going this way, and then they went down, and Lakeville benefits from that. Geraldine commented on the credit rating. I believe you have a copy of the report. Just a few things. In perspective, your general obligation rating is AA1. The highest possible is AAA out of about 9,000 ratings. A couple hundred are AAA. The next level down is AA1, so you're right there beneath the AAA. So there's a select group between the AAA and the AA1. Moody's talks about their rationale. The AA1 geo rating reflects the city's large and affluent tax base experiencing rapid growth. Secondly, healthy financial profile highlighted by sizable operating fund reserves. And 3, above average debt burden and unfunded pension liabilities. And I believe in a workshop we talked about this when Moody's talks about debt burden. They're talking about not just the city, but all entities, school district, county, et cetera. So summation of all that basically on the tax base of the city. Moody's also has 2 other features. What could make the rating go up? Moderation of the city's debt profile, improvement in the city's socioeconomic indices, what could make the rating go down, material growth in the debt burden, erosion of the operating fund liquidity and reserves or general fund balance. So, as we say, some of these you can control, some you can't. Can't really do a lot with socioeconomics, but you're well positioned for that. So, great rating, and we think it's a very good result. We recommend award to Raymond James. Glad to take any questions.
Item number 7 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Next highlighted item on the agenda is item number 8, amendment to contract for private development with Image Trend Development, LLC. And to provide the background information on this agenda item is Economic Development Director Dave Olson.
Thank you, Mr. Mayor, members of the council. Back in August of 2009, the City Council approved a contract for private development with Image Trend Development, LLC. And the basic terms of the contract were for the city to sell a 3.4-acre site that it owned adjacent to the existing Image Trend building at that time, which was located at 20855 Kensington Boulevard in the Fairfield Business Campus. The terms of the agreement that the city had negotiated with Image Trend Development were basically that the company would pay 1/3 of the purchase price in cash at the time of closing, which we did and they did, and then the remaining 2/3 were going to be forgiven upon completion of two different expansion of the existing building, and as well as creation of an additional 21 jobs. At that time, in 2009, Image Trend had approximately 100 employees. The deadlines were established also for the completion of the two phases of the business or the building for Image Trend, and the total expansion between the two phases was to total at least 50,000 square feet. The company completed the first expansion in 2011. It was approximately 27,000 square feet, and they also quite quickly met the required additional 21 jobs within that first year or two after 2011. The original contract said that the second phase said to be completed at the end of 2013, and it was in 2013 it was revised to extend it to the end of 2015. During that time, Image Trend has continued to grow. In fact, they've added a total of 60 employees, so they went from 100 in 2009 to 160 employees today. So 3 times approximately the number of jobs that were created or required to be created under the agreement. What the current request from Image Trend is to extend the completion date for the second phase, or Phase B as it's referred to in the agreement, from the end of 2015 till the end of 2018. I think what the company has found that they have been able to locate more employees than they thought in the original expansion, and thus they don't need the additional space yet, but they are continuing to add people. So with that, the request is to extend basically 3 more years the completion of the second phase expansion, brings it to December 31st, 2018, and it's also included in the agreement that this would be the last proposed extension of the time frame for the Phase B or second phase expansion. And with that, I'd like to turn it over to Mike McGrady, President of Image Trend, and it's an opportunity to spotlight and give council an idea of everything that's going on at Image Trend, and it's pretty amazing, personally, I think, but I'll let Mr. McGrady talk about that.
Right. President and CEO, McGrady. Good to see you again.
Mayor, council members, joy to be here. I'm one of the lucky citizens of Lakeville that came down to City Hall 17 plus years ago, took out a home business permit, and that's worked out pretty well. We were on Iberia in the house. We grew out of that. We moved out to Fairfield Business Park and rented. Fortunate enough to buy the building out there, fortunate enough to put the addition on, and looking forward to building on the west side. I think, one of the realities that we faced is we had a recession that slowed down for us. We're a cash-based business. We have no investors. We kept growing. We never laid anyone off, but it was challenging. And a lot of our business is government sector that didn't respond, hasn't responded, and come back as aggressively as we like. But we're optimistic, having a great year. We'll probably see 18 to 20% growth this year. So we're on the path to going where we want to go. Here, kind of a history from the home out to Fairfield. We're in the emergency data market in the United States. We're also in the HR market. And we just sort of grown out little by little, piece by piece. Kind of a history of our square footage needs and our employee needs. And that's been a curve that's been pretty consistent for us. And, we're a software company. We produce turnkey solutions. A lot of our stuff is software as a service. And once again, we have customers like Lakeville Fire and Alina, and all the ELF rigs run our software. Very customer-driven organization. We're not really too ego-driven. We're really a service-driven organization. We do business across the United States. Next week, we have 500-plus people flying into Minneapolis. This year, we're at the River Center because of the volume, but everybody from around the country comes in, and they tell us what doesn't work, what needs improvement, and where we should go. And we listen pretty diligently, and we go there, and we thrive because of it. And so our hospital, or our areas, you know, are all pre-hospital for the most part. Emergency, we license EMS services, we license fire services, staff management, revenue recovery, we do a Linus billing for EMS, and that kind of nature of thing. Collect a lot of data. Here's a quick history of what we've done in the United States. We were told that 80% of all the data that FEMA sees federally comes through our software. So we tend to dominate a very small, very niche market. We got good news last night. We picked up the second Australian hospital system on the Gold Coast, which is great for us to see a little expansion even outside the United States. And we try and make the quality of employment at Image Trend pretty good. We really hunt the 5-state campuses. We buy a lot of pizza for a lot of computer clubs. We probably have 10 interns in the building this summer, and we tend to hire those that can program. So we'll pay just about $12 million in wages. The average employee at Image Trend makes $73,000 a year. It's a kind of a youth culture. 44% of everybody's under 30. So we're used to some pretty casual behavior. And everybody at the Image Trend, for the most part, has a college degree. So we got a lot of uber smart people, a little dysfunctional sometimes, but always smart. And our footprint is 62% south of the river. So we have a lot of people that graduated out in South Dakota, moved here to Lakeville. They're very stable. We have a lot of employees that are married to each other. We have a lot of employees raising families. So for our employees, you know, we pay 100% of the health, 100% of the dental, great insurance. We have great PTO, flex time, work from home, those things, fast 401k. But the things that are really cool are we have daycare. We have 40 Image Trend babies and toddlers in daycare, which is just the coolest thing in the world. And for mom, when the tooth is getting loose, she can leave her desk and go back and be there for that moment, and it's really fun. We own 2 condominiums here in town, so we rent out 6 bedrooms to staff. So when someone signs on, we'll put up their room and board, because most of our new employees are single, and they'll live there in the condos until they transition off into something. We're a big food culture, so we have some pretty cool kitchens, and we eat too much. This year we started a community garden that's been a little interesting. We had to haul a lot of black dirt manure up there on the hill, but we've got some really crazy zucchini coming on, so we think that was a pretty good thing. And the other thing we have is we recognize the value of going to the lake for Minnesotans. So we actually have 2 cabins on Lake Sylvia. We own 4 boats, and people sign out the cabins and go up there for the weekend with their families. It's deeply meaningful, and no one ever gasses the boats up. But we're infinitely tolerant to that behavior. So what we think we're going to get into our building yet is about another 100 employees, which will just happen as things move on. In 2017, we think we need to be planning our next phase, blueprinting the building, construct in 18, move in at the end of 18 and 19. And our intentions are to stay private, stay the community that we are, grow our business, and continue to be of service to the United States, be the person that helps change medical. We're working on community paramedicine, which is the next big thing for every city in the United States, and lots of cool things. So that's what we intend to do.
Item number 8 was approved by the Lakeville City Council. Well, those are the highlighted items presented to the council at their July 20th, 2015 meeting. If you have any questions or comments regarding these agenda items, please feel free to call City Hall. The number is 952-985-4400. Thanks for watching this edition of Lakeville City Council Wrap-Up.
Hey, Phil! Oh, hey, Tank. How's it going? I'm feeling really drained today. Yeah, me too. Where's all this water going anyway? Unfortunately, on the lawns. Some people are watering every other day, even after it rains. Watering that much seems just wasteful. You're right, Phil. It is.
Help out Phil and Tank by watering your lawn only when needed.